Hello everyone, welcome back to the Film Feast. My name is Sam Donchis. Yeah, that's me. I'm your host, and on this episode of the Film Feast, I am going to be talking about Shane Black. Yes, the scribe turned director has a couple of new projects lined up, but I'm here to talk about a specific project. But before I get into that, you might not know who Shane Black is. And if you don't, let me familiarize you with him, because after all, I wouldn't be dedicating a whole episode of the Film Feast to him if he wasn't the real deal. Shane Black got his start in the late 80s when he wrote the script for the first Lethal Weapon movie. He sold that script for $125,000, which is not a bad start to your career if you ask me. And then he also acted in the first Predator movie, where he did some uncredited writing contributions for the film. And from there he went on to co-write the script for Lethal Weapon 2, write The Last Boy Scout, and rewrite Last Action Hero. Shoot forward a little more than a decade to when Shane Black wrote and directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, starring Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, and Michelle Monaghan. I didn't really know about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang until Shane Black was tapped to direct Iron Man 3, and then all of a sudden everyone was like, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is so funny and such a well-directed and written movie. So of course I sought it out, and yes, it is hilarious, so well written. It has a few growing pains. You can tell that Shane Black is a little uncomfortable in the director's chair for his first go-around, but it's all forgiven because this is a great comeback role for Robert Downey Jr. And a lot of people say that Iron Man is his comeback role, but no. This was his first little upswing to get back into the limelight. Shane Black would go on to continue his collaboration with Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man 3, which he co-wrote and directed. I didn't love Iron Man 3. It's definitely way better than 2, but not as good as 1 in my opinion. But it does show that Shane Black has a good eye for directing action, and that works into what I'm going to be talking about in some of these future projects that he has been tapped for, and it's a lot. Because I think after Iron Man 3, all the studios wanted him. So I'm going to highlight just a few of the projects that Shane Black has been tapped for, the first of which being an Americanized live-action Death Note movie. Death Note is a Japanese manga, which some of you might know about. It is one of the more popular mangas out there, in my opinion, and one of the more widely accepted ones because it is very well written. Death Note is about a young man who finds a notebook, a seemingly normal notebook that just so happens to kill the person whose name you write down in it. So it's a death note dropped by a Shinigami, or a god of death, who was bored in the underworld or something. I don't remember all the story details, but he was bored and he dropped it for whichever human picked it up to cause havoc with it. And from there it just turns into a big cat and mouse game, and I love a good cat and mouse story, so check it out if you haven't already. Unfortunately, in Japan, they've already tried to make a few live-action adaptations of the Death Note series, none of which are very good. So here's hoping that in the hands of Shane Black, they'd be able to make something decent in America. The problem is that the Death Note series doesn't seem like it would work very well for Shane Black's sensibilities, be it writing or directing. So out of all the projects that he's currently tapped for, Death Note seems like the most likely one that he'll drop out of. But if he doesn't drop out, I will still be very intrigued to see what he contributes to that movie. Shane Black is also planning on directing a Doc Savage movie for Sony Pictures, which I think would be a lot more in line with what he does in his movies, both from a writing and directing standpoint. It features a rogue badass in the lead role. You know, it's based on pulp magazine stories from the 30s. Shane Black wants Chris Hemsworth for the role, and he wants to keep the stories in the 30s, which I think is an excellent decision. Other than that, go look up Doc Savage yourself. It's a lot of lore and too much to go over in one episode. Out of all the projects that Shane Black has lined up to direct, the most concrete of them is The Nice Guys, starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. It's a murder conspiracy thriller set in 1970s Los Angeles, and it has a release date of June of 2016. So the fact that Shane Black is kind of sort of locked in to direct, and that it has a release date, that means that it's gonna happen. But here's the big one, the reason that I did this whole episode in the first place. Shane Black will be writing and directing a Predator sequel. Originally, the story was spun as a Predator reboot, which would mean it wasn't tied down to the original series or the Alien vs. Predator series or even the 2010 Robert Rodriguez produced Predators. No, this film will be a sequel. What is it a sequel to? I'm not exactly sure. Does it matter? Was Predators a reboot? I don't know. I don't know much about the Predator series. Please don't throw rocks at me. Reboots are lazy anyway. Black has said that he is very interested in mining the rich mythology that the Predator series has to offer, and it feels fitting that he's returning to this series that got him his start. I've been wanting to get into the Predator series. I just haven't had the drive, but it's there. Now that Shane Black's directing the new one, I'm gonna watch him. That's the bottom line. I'm just not gonna watch Alien vs. Predator, or Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I think out of all the projects that I've listed in this episode, the Predator movie is the one that people are going to be the most excited for. Because Shane Black, Predator, goes together like a PB&J, baby. Okay, you get it. But as always, I want to hear what you guys think. Please post in the comments section below, talk about Shane Black, or any of these projects that he's working on, but especially the Predator one. That's the reason why I produced this episode in the first place. I don't know much about the Predator series. You're going to have to forgive me for that one, but please, enlighten me. What is so great about the Predator series? Talk about that. And join me next time on the Film Feast, where I will be talking about Guillermo del Toro's plans for Pacific Rim's future. Thanks for watching. The film came out in late September of 2012, and while it didn't perform fantastically at the box office, it came in at number 2 behind Hotel Transylvania, making $20 million on its opening weekend, which is pretty good, not great, but consider the fact that it is an original sci-fi movie. And like I said in the last episode, if the audience doesn't recognize the brand, they're not going to rush out to the theater to see it. I think Looper benefited in a very big way with TriStar and Film District putting together a very strong ad campaign to get the word of mouth out there, shove audiences out the door to the movie theater to make Looper the number 2 movie of its opening weekend, which is pretty solid. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Looper is one of the best sci-fi movies of the last 10 years. As far as my personal favorites go, it's definitely in the top 3. One may argue that Looper is stuffed with too many sci-fi elements, and I will admit it is a lot to take in on first viewing, but I've seen this movie quite a few times and I love it more and more every time I see it.